one of the days, they ended up like literally banning me. Like I wasn't allowed in the service stations and stuff. Some days I would literally go without making a single sale, right? So I still remember this one day, and his window was like literally wound down. The moment he saw me approaching, he literally wound it up like so fast, right? And I don't know what it was for me in that moment. Felt like when he was winding up the windows, it was kind of like, shutting my destiny or something like that, right? I really felt it, So that's when I looked around and I saw like the other guys that are also on the sides of the roads, like, selling. I'm like, man, dude, is this what I want my life to be like, right? Because I was like, if this is the path that I'm continuing on, this is the path that I'm always going to be on, right? Man, like now it's over for me. And I felt like that had been like, the end of the road for me and stuff. And I felt like, this entrepreneurship journey is not for me anymore, But I've got a solution. It's taking advantage of those arbitrage opportunities, as I would say. So we're in the e-commerce space. We're in the digital space as well, where we sell digital products like your ebooks, audiobooks, video courses and stuff. So it was just like a gradual journey and stuff. And if this guy could do it, this guy he breathes the same air that I breathe. He most probably sort of like eats the same type of food that I also eat. And if that person can do it, you can also get it. And what can I do to become someone who's valuable enough such that when I get into that circle with that mentor, I'm able to stay there? Because sometimes all you just need is that 1 year. That's the good thing about this entrepreneurship journey,
Hello, and welcome to The Success Equation, the podcast where we unravel the secrets behind financial success and empower you with the knowledge to achieve your dreams. I'm your host, Mikkel, and I'm thrilled to have you join us on this exciting journey. Have you ever wondered what separates successful individuals from the rest? How they manage to navigate the complexities of finance and build a life of abundance? Well, you're in the right place, because here at the Success Equation, we believe that success is not a stroke of luck, but a well-crafted equation that can be understood and applied by anyone. In each episode, we'll bring you compelling interviews with industry leaders, entrepreneurs, and financial experts who have cracked the code to financial success. We'll dive into their personal journeys, exploring the challenges they faced, the strategies they implemented, and the mindsets they cultivated to achieve their goals. Through thought-provoking conversations and insightful discussions, we'll uncover the fundamental principles of financial literacy that have propelled these individuals to great heights. Whether it's mastering investments, building profitable businesses, or creating passive income streams, we'll leave no stone unturned in our quest to decipher the success equation. But the success equation is not just about listening to success stories. We're committed to equipping you with actionable advice and tips that you can apply in your own life. Each episode will feature key takeaways and practical steps, ensuring that you walk away with valuable knowledge to help you on your own path to success. So, if you're someone who's hungry for success, eager to learn the secrets of financial prosperity, and ready to take charge of your financial future, then hit that subscribe button and join the Success Equation community. Together, we'll unlock the code to financial freedom and create a life of abundance. Thank you for joining me on this exciting adventure. Keep striving, keep dreaming, and always remember, the success equation starts with you. Let's get straight into our first podcast. So, who are you, what do you do, and what is your mission?
Perfect. My name is Keith, and I'm super passionate about entrepreneurship. I've been an entrepreneur ever since, I think I could say ever since like my school years and stuff. Started this journey with my young brother, who used to be like those types of people or kids at school who would have a backpack full of sweets, video games, trying to sell them to other kids and stuff. So ever since then, I've just been super passionate about this journey. And my mission in life, kind of feel like I'm that person who gets excited when I see people chasing their dreams, people going after what they're born to do here on earth. So looking forward to give value in this interview, and let's do it.
So you said you started off quite young with your entrepreneurship journey. So can you tell us some of the things that you did? You mentioned your brother. Like, what's some of the ventures that you and him started, and what eventually happened to those ventures?
Lovely. So I still remember when we were still in in primary school. Those days, I think they used to be like PlayStation 2s or something like that. And I went to a school where most of the kids were super passionate about gaming and stuff. So what we'd do is I would get PlayStation games from other kids and then like swap them around between kids and, sort of be like the broker between the facilitator between like, those exchanges of video games. And then like these kids would kind of, pay us a fee for doing that. So when I got into high school, I then like, elevated into the phones niche. So I was usually like that guy who's trying to get, because I went to a school with some rich kids and stuff, right? So I became that guy who would try and source phones at a cheaper price. And then like I'll come to these kids that their parents have given them like a lot of tuck money, pocket money for boarding school and stuff. And we'll basically like sell these phones to these kids. So after that, it was just like this bug that was just always in me to see what opportunities can I kind of like take advantage of based on the demands that are actually there, based on the wants of the market and stuff. So when I was still young, I didn't really notice that this was something that was going to really take me far. I just thought that it was just like, some of those things that kids do to just, make extra cash and stuff. But then like as I was growing, I would realize that it's not every kid that had it in them to be like, I see an opportunity there. Let me make some money off that, So ever since like a really young age, I've always been super passionate about seeing those gaps, identifying those gaps, and just taking advantage of those arbitrage opportunities, as I would say. So fast forward to today, we kind of like, we're in the e-commerce space, we're in the digital space as well, where we sell digital products like your ebooks, audiobooks, video courses and stuff. So it was just like a gradual journey and stuff. And I could just say it's all centered on arbitrage. And that's it.
Could you go deeper into the concept of arbitrage and basically explain it to a person that doesn't understand it at all?
Yeah, lovely. So I'll start off with this. So I have this other wealthy mentor of mine. I still remember asking him the question, like, how did you become so rich, right? Because I think in our minds as people, when we see someone who's made it, we always think that it's something that's complicated, complex, something that we can't do, right? So he answered me with this one statement. He was like, Keith, I got rich because of arbitrage, right? So that's when I went a bit further. I'm like, what's arbitrage? And that's when he explained to me that arbitrage is just simply taking a notice of the price differences between products, where you can source a product at a cheaper price and actually finding a marketplace where you can sell that exact same product at a higher price, right? So when he said it like that, didn't really make that much sense to me. I was like, man, this guy's lying. There definitely has to be something more to it and stuff, right? But then this was a guy that after I got to know him a bit better, I noticed this guy was making millions, moving rice, right? Like the basics of the most basic things. He would move TVs and sell them in other African countries and stuff and things like that. So that's when my eyes got open to be like, man, this is something that I've always been doing all this time. Even when I was still in primary school and stuff, I would probably maybe buy these phones at a cheaper price and then go to the kids at my school who really wanted the new fancy phone and stuff. During those days, every kid wanted the V360 or the Motorola Razr and stuff. So I started realizing man, it's what I've been doing all along. But these guys, when they do it at such a grander scale, such that the benefits as well are also quite huge. So arbitrage basically is just noticing the price differences between where you're getting it for the supply and how much you can actually sell it, the spread between the two, where you're getting it and how much you can sell it. The bigger the spread or the bigger the quantities that you move, the greater your reward.
So you mentioned your mentor. How important would you say it would be for a young person or a person that's new in business to have a mentor?
I think mentorship really plays a very crucial role when it comes to one's growth, because I've noticed when people see what's possible, you're most likely to kind of start putting it in your belief set, right? Or your belief toolbox. Because one of the things that really stops people from doing something is the belief that maybe it's more complicated than it is and stuff. But then like when you start seeing somebody else who is doing it, somebody else who's walked the path, you realize that when you now walk that exact same path, you walk it with some assurance, with some confidence that it can be done. If this guy could do it, this guy breathes the same air that I breathe. He most probably sort of like eats the same type of food that I also eat. And if that person can do it, you can also do it. And the other thing again about mentorship is you realize that most of these people who have achieved something, they've kind of learned some lessons of what to do. They've learned the lessons of what not to do. So it's basically finding a good mentor, sort of buying a ticket to success, it's sort of like a shortcut, So you can buy your way to success, quicker way, such that you don't have to go through the mistakes that these people went through. You don't have to go through the learning curves that they had to go through and stuff. Because you might notice, if I want to do something, for example, and I don't have any mentor and stuff, the amount of effort that I have to put into actually learning will be a bit more, and the period will be longer, because I'm not learning the vital things. I'm probably my efforts are probably scattered. Whereas when you have a mentor, the right mentor, they'll show you what's most effective. They'll show you the levers that you need to pull, so that every single effort that you put in, the results and the rewards that you get from that effort are kind of magnified, and every punch that you kind of throw is kind of precise and on point. So I kind of believe mentorship is a very important thing. And another thing again that I also feel is a lot of people restrict themselves when it comes to mentorship. We usually think I need to find a person that can be my mentor, but there is one thing that I actually came to realize: you can either find a mentor in either a book or a person. So it doesn't always has to be that person that you get to meet every single time and stuff. Sometimes you can make books your mentors. And these days it's even way better. We've got YouTube. We've got all these digital resources and stuff, where if you really want to educate yourself, if you want some direction in life, the other people are literally showing it out there for free. All you just need to do is just to have the discipline and the time to just say, I'm going to go learn what this guy has done, or learn from what his life experiences have been that he's sharing, and I'm going to apply that.
Awesome. Can you tell us one of the ways that you actually found some of your mentors, and what practical advice you have for people to find the perfect mentor for them?
Lovely. So I still remember when I wanted to get access to my mentors, I used to just be that person who used to be sending emails to mentors to be please be my mentor, please be my mentor. But then I noticed, to these guys, it was just a nuisance to them, right? They would really pay no attention to me and not really give me the attention that I thought I deserved from them, So what I ended up doing is I really stepped back and I looked at it. I was like, why are these people not really responding to my requests for them to mentor me? That's when I realized that I didn't really have any value to offer. So that's when I was like, okay, what can I do to become someone who's valuable enough, such that when I get into that circle with that mentor, I'm able to stay there? Because I still remember there was one time I got a mentor, but I didn't have the value to be able to actually stay in that circle. So what I would encourage someone to do is, if you want a mentor, find a place where you feel that your growth is kind of a bit easy in that space that you want to be mentored in. So let's say if you're a musician and stuff, right? You should have some level of competence in a sense, and some value that you're able to give to that mentor. So what I did is, at that time, I had developed a skill set where I was able to do websites. So I would do some research on that particular mentor that I would want for them to be my mentor, right? And what I would then do is I would just send them an email or paste them on Facebook. I'll be like, yep, I saw one of your businesses. I really love your businesses, but your website is probably outdated and stuff. And how I would also do it is I would have already done a better version of their website. And I'll be like, yep, I saw this website, and just look at the one that I've done for you. It's the exact same website, but it's now 10 times better than what had been done already and stuff, right? So I noticed that would always get people's attention. And they'll be like, man, I want to meet this guy, right? So after the meeting and stuff, obviously you've brought some value to the table. you have become someone that's now worth keeping in their circle. You've contributed some value of some sense. So you notice when that happens, when you're a person that's able to consistently provide value to them, and then when you now get in the proximity, that's the time now that you now need to start asking the questions to be like, I'm also on my journey. As much as I helped you with your journey that you're on, I created a better website for you, or I helped you with this thing that you're working on and stuff, or did a bit of some research. As much as I did that for you, I'm also on my journey and I'm inspired by what you have done. What advice can you give to me, right? And there's nothing as satisfying to these mentors as giving somebody advice, and that person actually goes, they act on the advice, they get things done, and then you come back. The next call that you give to that person shouldn't be, I want another mentorship session and I want more of your time, right? The next call should be, I implemented what you taught me that time. These were the results. If the results were poor, like you ask, like, how can I make it better, So that they know that the time that they're spending on you is not just in vain and stuff. And they will also start feeling like, a sense of like, connection with you to be like, man, this guy is really trying. He's really putting in the effort. When I tell him to go do something, he really goes, he tries it out. And if it's a success, the merrier, they're also happy to be like, man, this guy is on the right path. And they start kind of like, seeing a little of themselves in you. And I think that's the best way to find those mentors and to make sure that when you're in that circle, you actually then stay in that circle for long.
Okay, cool. I think one of the big parts of business is to understand that not everything you're going to do is going to work out. And that concept of failure has become a very taboo topic in the business world. Would you like to just talk on that and just give us an idea of some of your failures, how you got through it, and what eventually happened with it?
So I think I've kind of like experienced like multiple failures, but one thing that I want to encourage people with on this journey of entrepreneurship is sometimes all you just need is that one yes. That's the good thing about this entrepreneurship journey, You only need one yes for it to all work out for you. So I still remember like right after finishing high school and stuff, my dad had left my mom, and she was a single parent trying to make things happen and stuff. So I was supposed to do actuarial science after high school and stuff, right? But then like I couldn't get funding and stuff, so I couldn't get like a sponsor to actually sponsor me to go to university, do actuarial science and whatnot. So I still remember like on the last day of high school, these kids were like asking each other, what are you going to do after high school and stuff, The other one's like, I'm going to be going to this university, I'm going to do this and that and stuff. And then now comes my turn. They're like, yeah, Keith, what are you going to do, right? So I literally froze because I knew like the situation at home to be like, man, it's tough out there. Like I'm not going to be able to afford to go to university and stuff. So that's when this other kid his name is Takealot. He's like, oh, bro, why are you even bothering asking Keith? He's going to be an entrepreneur and stuff, So I kind of took that and I ran with it. Just remember like after high school, I was trying like multiple things. I tried getting a job. I couldn't get a job. But then I'm like, okay, cool. Like I'm kind of like gifted in this entrepreneurship thing that I used to do in high school. Why don't I just try and do it again now, right? So I still remember I saw this other thing on the internet called the Fix It Pro pen and stuff. So it was sort of like one of those pens whereby if your car gets a scratch, you just take the pen right over the scratch and then boom, the scratch vanishes, right? So the ad, so I could get it in China at a cheaper price and stuff. And I still remember going to my mom, I'm like, Mom, I need some funding, for this entrepreneurial endeavor to make it happen and stuff. So I still remember my mom actually gave me the cash. She didn't have much, but she literally sacrificed, gave me the cash so that I could make it happen and stuff. And remember, this is not like the first thing that I'm also trying to do and stuff. I tried Forex, lost my mom's money, lost my aunt's money, and so I tried like all these other things. But then like when I eventually saw like this whole Fix It Pro thing, I was like, yeah, man, this thing is gonna work and stuff, right? So I still remember ordered a few batches. They came through. They were shipped from China. They came through, and when they came through, that's when I realized that, man, these things are not just going to sell themselves. I need to be that guy who's out there making things happen, selling these things and stuff. So I would grab a few, put them in my backpack, and I was one of those guys by the traffic lights, right? trying to sell like, these fixed propanes and stuff. And I realized like, man, it's super difficult, like, selling in the traffic lights. What can I do? So I started going to the service stations where people kind of like, filling up their cars with fuel and whatnot and stuff. And I still remember the very first day I went to my first service station. I get there, there's this gentleman who is putting fuel like in his red Jeep and stuff. And he's getting a full tank, right? So I see that, I'm like, man, the people who actually get full tanks, Let me try this guy. So I'm selling like a fixed propane. Would you like to get one and do a demo for him? And then he's like, yeah, sure. So I was selling these things for like 250 Rand for one pin. So I was actually buying these things for like 15 Rand each, right? So the profit margins were ridiculous, right? So I still remember this guy is like, yeah, sure, I want to buy one. And he pulls out 200 Rand notes. Like that's like $400, right? So he passes that to me and I give him one and I'm like, sir, I don't have change. Do you mind just waiting here? I'm just going to get your change and I'm going to come back to you and stuff. It's like, nah, it's all good, man. I like what you're doing. You're young, ambitious. Keep the change. Man, so I was like, man, wait, what have I been doing by these traffic lights? I could have been making like so much money by these service stations and stuff. So I became that guy who was like now at this one service station and stuff. I would sell a couple of pins, like things are now like moving, right? But then started being chased away from these service stations. So like, dude, you're bothering your customers and stuff. Go elsewhere. So it was like in the Midrand area. Like these guys with the service stations actually ended up like knowing if you see this guy, he's not supposed to be here, So what then happened is one of the days they ended up like literally banning me. Like I wasn't allowed in the service stations and stuff. So I kind of like devised like a new strategy. So I went to the guys that were actually pouring fuel for other people and stuff. I'm like, dude, do you want to make money, right? So kind of like, show them the plan, all you just need to do is give people this fixed propane, show them a demo. After they buy it for, let's say 200 Rand. You keep 100, you give me 100. End of story, right? So this other guy was like, yeah, I want to do it, This guy was actually selling quite a bit. So I still remember giving him a bit of some stock so that he gets to sell. This guy, I told him, after you've sold, if you need more, just give me a ring and I'll come right to you, So this guy actually sells some and in no time, the guy is actually like calling me, hey dude, bring some more. They're all sold, right? I was like, man, now this is the way to actually do boss moves now. I'm not really working. It's other people that are actually doing it and stuff and things like that. So I gave the guy like, some more stock and stuff. And then I think he had also been given a warning because the guy that owned the station was like, dude, don't sell and stuff. But he didn't tell me, right? He just kept on like, telling me like, yeah, I'll bring some more. So like we're literally like making a bit of money, like money hands over fist. He's making his 100, I'm making my 100. We all happy, right? And then like, one of the days, that's when the guy calls me. He's like, yo, bro, like I've just been fired. I'm like, what? Why? That's when he's like, they'd given me like a warning and stuff, but the money was good. So I always wanted to, I just, kept forcing it and stuff and things like that. So I kind of like, felt bad for that guy. I'm like, man, I just ruined somebody's life. He's been fired and stuff. So after that was done, I was like, the next best option, because like they don't want to see me at all these other service stations now. Next best option, back on the streets, So I was now that guy again, by the traffic lights when a car stops. I'm like, please buy this pen and stuff and things like that. And it got tough. It's super tough, like, because people really don't really pay attention there, So I would go some days where I would come, like, walk all the way from a place where we were living, like in the Tembisa area. I would literally walk all the way from there, come to Midrand, where I felt like there was better clientele and stuff. But then what would then happen is some days I would literally go without making a single sale, right? I'd have to like walk back home and stuff. So I still remember this one day that I'm trying to sell, like this young guy, sort of like my age. I think he should have been like around about like 19, 18 at that time. There's this other young guy, he's driving like a Peugeot Silver CRZ, sporty looking car, looking good. And I see this guy, it's scorching hot, right? Like I'm literally sweating. And for some reason, I feel like this guy's going to feel some pity for me because he's also like my age. He's going to be like, oh man, fellow young guy like my age and stuff. Let me help him out, right? So kind of like, try and approach this guy, want to sell him the pen. And his window was like literally wound down. The moment he saw me approaching, he literally wound it up like so fast, right? And I don't know what it was for me in that moment. Felt like when he was winding up the window, it was kind of like, shutting my destiny or something like that, right? I really felt it, So that's when I looked around and I saw like the other guys that are also on the sides of the road, like, selling. Most of these guys like in their 40s, 30 something, 50. I'm like, man, dude, is this what I want my life to be like, right? So I still remember that day I hadn't made like any sales and stuff because I was like, if this is the path that I'm continuing on, this is the path that I'm always going to be on, right? So I still remember that day I literally packed my bags. I'm like, I'm going to go home, really think about this thing and make it work and stuff. So I get home and I was trying to find like ways to really make it work. That's when I realized that I could actually make more money if I sold these things in bulk instead of like, selling these things like, one-to-one, one unit at a time and stuff. So I kind of like devised like a business plan for people. I was like, guys, if you want to buy these pens, you can buy them from me for a price of like 50 Rand each. And then you can sell them at 250 if you want, or 200, any price that you want, and make your money, So I still remember actually taught myself how to do a website because at first I tried, marketing, it wasn't working. Then like I saw something on the internet that said, if you want to sell, like have a website, right? So that's when I taught myself like how to actually build a website. I built a website. Then like after building the website, I was expecting like the money to come in, right? But then like nothing was coming in. And then that's when I realized some guys were like, yeah, you don't just have to have a website. You have to market and promote your website so that people can actually find you and buy from you. So that's when I started like, learning about marketing and kind of like, was that person posting on classified ads. Do you want to start your own business, start your own Fix It Pro business and stuff and things like that, So I started getting inquiries. So I'd get some inquiries and guys would be like, yeah, I want to buy some stock for 5,000. I'm like, wow, man, this is impressive, And then this was the big one now. This guy is like, I want to buy stock for 30,000 Rand. And I'm like, wow, like this is it. Like 30,000 Rand like felt like millions for me back then, So I was like, man, like this is the one. I'm gonna take my family out of poverty. We're gonna be rich, Let this one happen. So this guy then went quiet with me, right? So I was like super hungry, super persistent, right? So I'll be that guy like almost every morning. Good morning, sir. Hope you slept well and stuff. Please don't forget about me, So just, kept on texting this guy. And then like, I still remember one day, he's like, yeah, Keith, I haven't yet forgotten about you. Just been super busy. I'm going to do the transaction. Send me the bank details and stuff. So I sent this guy the bank details. I'm waiting for the money, right? And then like, some days go by, like literally almost like a week, not having heard from this guy. But I'm still that guy, like, texting almost every morning and stuff, things like that. And then one of the days, that's when, because like my structure was, these people, I didn't have the money, but what my structure was, back to that arbitrage thing. My structure was, I knew where to get the product. And my margins were actually super good, such that I could literally buy these products with the money that my clients would have paid me. So I'll tell my clients, you pay 50% deposit now, and then the other balance when I deliver. So the 50% deposit that I would get from these bulk clients, I'll be able to actually purchase the stock from China, pay all the duties and taxes and stuff, and still have a little bit of a margin, right? So this guy paid me like 50% deposit, 15,000 Rand. I'm like, man, yeah, this is it now. Like we're going to be rich out of poverty forever, So I still remember, ordered the stock from China now from my usual supplier. I've got a big order for you, Literally did that order. The pens came through and I even bought like way more with all the other profits now. So that like, at least if there are other clients, I'll be like, I'm able to offer you a better service, deliver within a day, sorted, So the stuff eventually arrives and I still remember calling the guy. I'm like, yeah, the stock is now arrived, this stuff, just let me know when you want me to deliver because like I'm eager to get like my other 15,000 Rand balance, So this guy's like, oh, I'm not available at the moment and stuff, but when I'm back, and I'm available, I'll let you know, and then like you'll come and deliver, you know. So these things were literally like, you know, staying in this like, you know, little shack that we used to live in. They're like in some corner piled up and stuff and things like that. So that's when my mom is like, you know what, dude, like you need to go and you need to take these things and test them out, because it's not good that you just, you know, didn't test your things and stuff and things like that, you know. So it's like, Mom, I always order from the same guy. These things are going to be proper as always. No stress, you know. So she kept on bugging me and stuff. I'm like, okay, cool, let me just do it just for her, you know. So I kind of like, you know, take this metal piece that I used to test with in the past and stuff, you know, scratch it, you know, right over it, like literally nothing. It feels like there's water there, right? Man. So I really could like, you know, believe it. You know, I'm like, nah, man, like let me shake it a bit more and stuff, you know. So I kind of like, you know, shook that thing, and after shaking it, tried it again, nothing. I'm like to my little brother, bro, go get another one. He goes, he gets another one, tries it again, boom, doesn't work. So that's when I was like, man, what do I do here? Because like literally like the whole batch is fake, right? So that's when I thought, I was like, man, do I just quickly go deliver these things? After delivering, I get my money and I'm out of there. And then I'm like, no, that's not really going to be the way to do it. And then like I still remember my mom, when she got to hear about it, she's like, you know what, let's call this person. Call them and I'll tell them that I'm going to work and, you know, pay the person like in bits and pieces. I'm like, no, I don't want my mom to be going through this again, you know. So I literally called the guy. I'm like, sir, the pens came, but, you know, they're not as expected. I think I've been scammed and whatnot, but I've got a solution. I'm willing to work hard for you. I can work for you for free for the rest of my life, this and that and stuff. I literally give him like a whole story. And that's when he's like, you know what, Keith, don't worry about it. I'm like, okay, cool. So when do I start, right? I'm thinking he's saying, don't worry about it. Like, no, it's the job thing and stuff. When do I start? It's like, no, don't worry about it. I can see that you're an ambitious person and stuff. And he just, you know, just wiped out like that date for me, you know? So that was like, you know, one failure moment where I was like, man, like now it's over for me. And I felt like that had been like, you know, the end of the road for me and stuff. And I felt like, you know, this entrepreneurship journey is not for me anymore, you know? So I could say like, that's one failure story that I have of the many that I can tell. Yeah.
So, Keith, I asked your brother, what is one trait that makes you a successful businessman? And his response was that it's your ability to talk and network with other people. Would you agree with that statement, and why?
I think I would kind of like, you know, agree with that. And to some degree, I've noticed, okay, to every degree, the money that you want is in another man's hands right now. The opportunities that we all seek are in another man's hands. And what's really stopping the flow of money is just one person's yes from their pocket into your pocket, right? So you'll notice, like with all these opportunities that come across or that we come across and stuff, the most important thing that is that determines whether that money flows to you or not is your access to those people, your ability to network, and the value of the offer that you're able to bring to those people. So I really feel that, you know, communication skills do play a very big role, and also your conduct and behavior when you're around other people also matters a lot. So I do feel that, you know, networking does play a very, very big role in one's success as an entrepreneur. And right now it's like way easier because you've got like social media that makes all these things like super easy than they used to be like in the past. So I really agree with you right there.
Awesome. Okay, so let's look at this hypothetical situation. Okay, let's say you lost everything and all you had was 500 rand. How would you get back on your feet again?
Lovely. So I think this one is actually quite an interesting one, because I kind of feel that with $500, that's a really good start. The $500, I think how I would definitely spend it is all I just need is an internet connection. And the other thing that I would definitely buy is a domain name. And then like I'll find some type of product that I can arbitrage. So I could probably maybe get a product, a digital product, which is like way better, because with the digital product, these are things like, you know, an ebook, an audiobook, or a video course, right? So I could use the other amount of money that I have to buy what are called PLR products. So that's a private label rights digital product. So I could get like an ebook that's maybe in the health niche or the weight loss niche or something like that. And then after buying that PLR book, it can cost me like maybe 200 Rand or something like that. I'll then create a website selling that. And when people pay me like maybe 100 Rand and stuff, I'll just keep like, all the profits. Because remember, this is a digital copy. I've bought the rights to the product. And whatever money people then pay me, I'm just selling them like duplicate copies of the same product over and over again. So I think that would be one of the things that I'll do. And another one as well, which I've actually done in real life, is getting products from platforms like Fiverr and Flipper, where there are other people from countries like India who make like really, really good websites, but at the fraction of the price, right? So I'm not sure if you've heard of a website that was called Trivago back in the day. So Trivago was like a travel website and stuff, and they would say, if you want to book a hotel, go to trivago.com and stuff. So if you go on Flipper, I went to Flipper, and I realized like, man, there are actually guys who make these Trivago-like websites on Flipper for $150, right? So $150, we could say that's 3,000 Rand. 3,000 Rand. So I literally took that exact same listing of the website that's being sold for 3,000 Rand, and I'll then list it on my own website for 15,000 Rand, right? Right here in South Africa. And I was now that guy, because remember, like, I was always hungry, right? So I would then start promoting it on platforms like Gumtree, all these other classified ads and stuff. Start your own online business or your own website like Trivago, and make all the money when people do bookings and stuff and things like that. So that's what I would do. I would do something like that where I'm arbitraging that opportunity. And what I'll then also do is I want to be able to use other people's money, not to use my own money, right? So what I'll then do is I'll just tell my clients beforehand that when you pay for this website, you have to pay a 50% deposit. After paying your 50% deposit, then I will then deliver that product to you. After it's been delivered to you, that's when you'll pay the other remaining balance. So I think what I'll then just do is once the client pays the 50% deposit, which is 7,500 Rand, I take 3,500, pay it to the guy who does the website. He then delivers to me and I deliver to my client, right? And after that, you notice just by getting like the first 7,500 Rand, I'm already in profit already, right? By a good margin, The other 7,500 Rand that I'll get after delivering like the products and stuff, it's just like a bonus. So the other things as well that I would also do for the clients is I would then go on Fiverr, give them like, some business cards so that they really feel like I'm in business now, So I'll give them some business cards. They would have like, their own website. It can be called like Mikhail's Traveling or Keep Traveling or something like that. So I think if I'm to start again, I would just play in those arbitrage opportunities that require me to be able to utilize other people's money and to be able to then use other people's money to give them like a service that they are satisfied with and with good margins.
Awesome. So I think, avenues such as Gumtree or classifieds are no longer as effective as they used to be. So what would you say people could use today to achieve the same results as those would previously give? And, obviously without them going down the path of paid advertising and spending a lot of money on that.
Actually like that. So I think right now we now have like way more opportunities than we actually had in the past, right? And right now I've noticed marketing needs to really connect with people. It has to connect with the client. So I think one platform that people can use is TikTok, because like TikTok is really blowing up right now. I'm so sure if you've seen like those unboxing videos on TikTok where someone's like, man, I just bought this thing and stuff, they unbox it and then like you realize like, man, that thing actually got like millions of views, right? Now just imagine if that person was unboxing like their own product, of which like some of these people who've mastered these platforms, when they're doing like an unboxing and they're pretending as if like they're seeing this thing for the first time, it's an ad. They're actually unboxing like their very own products and stuff, getting exposure on that, and millions of people see it. And with those millions of people, there's a few percentage of those millions that will actually convert into actual clients. So I kind of feel if you are hungry enough, there is so much abundant opportunity. We've got like Instagram, we've got like, even things like, cold calling, if you have the guts to do it and stuff, you can literally be cold calling, knocking on doors. That's one thing that I also once did. So I still remember I used to also just go from neighborhood to neighborhood, showing people like the opportunity that I have to offer and the value that it can bring in their lives. But I think instead of like, doing door to door, I'd rather like work on one good TikTok video. And then instead of you just knocking on one door at a time, digital media gives you the access to leverage and be able to knock on 1 million doors in a day or in a month or something like that because of the exposure that it gives you. So I think with the way that technology is advanced, there's so many opportunities, platforms like TikTok, platforms like Facebook, and just try and be real in your marketing so that like, people feel the connection with your product and they eventually buy.
Okay, sweet. I think another big opportunity in South Africa is for people to sell on Takealot. Would you recommend people starting selling on Takealot?
I definitely do, hey? Because one of the things as well that we're also into is we also sell on Takealot as well. And what I would recommend that everyone explores that route is instead of you doing like your own part, your own shipping, labeling of products to be like one thing if it's been bought by someone in Limpopo or someone in KZN and stuff, you don't have to do that. Takealot makes it easy. They give you the marketplace where you can be discovered by people who are most probably looking for the product that you are selling, number one. And they also handle fulfillment and shipping for you. So you'll notice it becomes like super easy for you now to grow. And the only things that you will really need to be focusing on are things like your marketing. And I think marketing is just the most important thing that you need to focus on. If you nail your marketing properly, you'll notice like, you'll just be making sales after sales after sales without you really needing to stress about a lot of things like, shipping the products, labeling the packages, boxing them and stuff and things like that. So I think it's a really, really good shortcut that people can use for them to just kind of like, sell some products and, also make money from that. And I think the process to also start with Takealot is also super easy as well, because you can be buying products from China, like what we did for one of our other products. It was like, a souvenir item and stuff. We're literally buying those things from China for 30 Rand, including duties, taxes, everything, 30 Rand. And then we're selling them on Takealot for about 250 Rand. Takealot does take the margin off it, which is around about like 30% range and stuff. So you notice that the margins are good if you really get a good product that you also can market as well and stuff. Because with those souvenir products, what I then did is after listing it on Takealot and stuff, we just went on Facebook and then we targeted the audience that would potentially buy that particular souvenir item. And we literally sold thousands of those things through Takealot without us, like, being worried about, man, we got like 1,000 orders. Now we need to pack 1,000 things, like, put stickers on them, call the courier company to be like, come get all the 1,000 items and stuff. So you'll notice, like, Takealot is one of those things that I would encourage like a lot of people to get into. It does require a bit of like, some capital, startup capital for you to first of all order the products and, list them on Takealot. But then if you're sourcing your products from South Africa locally, you can also do like a drop shipping sort of like, method and stuff where you only then buy stuff from the store after it's actually been bought on Takealot and stuff. So yeah, there are other things that we go into, like, being able to then finance those things and stuff and things like that. Yeah, but yeah.
So speaking from personal experience, I know that there's quite a lot of challenges on Takealot. What are some of those that you have experienced?
So I think one of the biggest challenges on Takealot is, let's say you get like a really good product, right? And you start marketing it and starts getting like a lot of traction and stuff. There is a possibility that somebody else who's not putting in like a marketing budget and stuff just comes through and then, like, jumps on your listing, right? And then they put in like a lower price than you are. And they start getting like all the cells that you are probably directing your traffic to the page for and stuff and things like that. So I kind of feel like, that's one of the biggest issues that I've kind of, come across and stuff. And one of the ways that I kind of like came up with to counter that is doing like private labeling for your products. So for example, if you buy like water bottles, for example, don't just list the water as without like, the logo on it and stuff. Just try and find like a unique logo that you put on it or on that water, and you kind of like get a separate link or listing for yourself, like on Takealot and stuff. And other people who might want to sell the same product as yours will now have like a little bit of a barrier of entry, because they now have to duplicate your logos and stuff and things like that for them to kind of like sell that exact same product and stuff. So I kind of feel like that's the biggest problem for me, and sort of like a solution as well for how you can counter that. But it doesn't stop people from actually counterfeiting your products and putting your logo so that they actually get under your listing and stuff. So if you're not like a registered trademark, unfortunately there's nothing you might be able to do legally and stuff. But if you're a registered trademark, you won't have anything to worry about.
So I know there's a lot of rumors about Amazon potentially entering the South African market. While this may be a challenge to Takealot, would you say it's more of a threat or of an opportunity to other South Africans selling on marketplace platforms?
I kind of feel like it's a very big opportunity, because you notice I kind of feel like Takealot really didn't have like a lot of competition, or doesn't really have a lot of competition. All the sellers that usually like selling online without the hassle of doing all those other things that we talked about, like packaging and fulfillment and stuff. All those sellers that are there, they don't really have like any other other options to actually go for, right? Whereas if Amazon comes into the picture, I think it's going to create a bit of some healthy competition, and there's sort of going to be like a lot of opportunity that is created for these new sellers. And again, another thing that I also feel that's going to happen is, I'm not so sure if you've checked out like the Amazon in the UK. They've got like a .co.uk, they've got a .com, they've got one for Canada, they've got like multiple ones, right? But what I also noticed with that Amazon is when you go on Amazon, you might be able to see products that are also like in the UK, and distribution doesn't matter where you are in the world. You can like literally order from Amazon and it gets shipped out to you. So if it works out like that in South Africa when Amazon comes here, I think it will be a good thing for South African sellers, because we'll not get like international markets also looking at South Africa to be like, man, I think I want to buy that. Especially like those people that kind of like, create their own products, those artistic or creative artists and stuff that create their own things. I'm sure like it's going to create so much opportunity for those people, because then you'll notice people will now be able to buy authentically African made products directly from Africa, from Amazon, in any other country that they're in, and not just, they won't just be restricted, the sellers won't just be restricted to selling within South Africa only. So if it does happen like that, that's going to be like one big opportunity for all the sellers.
So one of the segments of the show is where we ask the guest a completely hypothetical question. Now this is purely just to pick your brain and see your thinking. So today's question is, would you trade 1 year of your life for R1 billion? Now, the caveat to this is you don't know the day that you're going to die. So that means if you were going to die in 1 year's time and you took the money, you would die today. Now, I'm also not limiting how much money you want to take in place of time. So that means if you want to take 10 billion rand for 10 years of your life, by all means. So the only question I have is, deal or no?
That's a really good question, right? And I kind of feel like, answers to these questions are kind of like, dependent on where each of us are in life, and also the goals and the aspirations that we all have. So I kind of feel like I'll be that person who take the risk and get the 1 billion for 1 year, right? And I'll be like, if I'm leaving it for my family, it's worth it and stuff, So I'll probably do that. I'll take a gamble for 1 billion 1 year. It's definitely perfect. Yeah.
Okay. The next segment is where we're going to ask you a question that the previous guest has left for you. Now, because this is our first show and you're our first guest, I'm going to give you the first question. Now, the question is, what is a common misconception about you and how does it make you feel?
That's interesting. So I think most of the times, like when people see me, they kind of like think I'm a party guy. They also think like I'm a rapper for some reason and stuff and things like that. So I always get that a lot. Like I still remember I got into this Uber this other day, and I was just coming from the hotel, right? And this guy's like, dude, I know you, bro. I'm like, from where? It's like, dude, like, aren't you that rapper and stuff? Like, I'm like, no, and stuff. So I think he was just trying to make conversation and stuff. And I think maybe based off my energy, he just thought like, man, this guy's probably like some entertainer, some DJ, some rapper or something like that. So I actually get that a lot. I'm actually not like a party person. I'm one person who enjoys, like, let's say on weekends, just being chilled at home, maybe reading a book, and then like that's what I kind of like consider like a good time for me and stuff. So yeah, that's the misconception that people, or the label that people usually put on me and stuff, and yeah, kind of like I'm actually quite cool with it because like I'm also one person who's not really bothered by what people really say and stuff. I'm like one person who just realizes that I live in the moment in a sense, So if something happens now and stuff, it happened in the moment. We move on, like not we don't really get attached to outcomes, and I think that's one also important thing, especially like for entrepreneurs, because when you now get attached to a particular outcome that you probably want or a particular label and stuff, as an entrepreneur you have to be someone who's agile, right? Because when you put a label on yourself to be like, I'm only this and stuff, what happens to the time that thing that you're telling yourself that you are, that opportunity maybe kind of like vanishes, or that opportunity is no longer as favorable. We have to be people that are able to adapt with the times and make the most of the opportunities that we kind of like see at that particular point in time.
Awesome. Can you give the viewers at home a quote? Now, this quote can either be for motivation or inspiration, or just to provoke their thoughts.
So I kind of feel that there's this quote. I'll probably leave you with two. So there's a quote that says, "You're only a success the moment that you execute a successful action." So after that, you have to do it again. You're only a success the moment you do a successful act. After that, it doesn't matter. It's all zero. So I think with that, it's also one of those things whereby, success is all a game of having new zeros every single time, right? Making your ceiling, your current perceived ceiling, your new floor every single time. So I kind of feel like, with that, every successful action, after that, like it's done. You always have to be consistently working on it. And it's one of those things that reminds us that success is all about the process. It's not an event. It's always all about the process. And the one last one that I'll leave everyone with is, here's a fun, it's a super interesting one. So after the game, both the king and the pawns, they all go in the same box. So just want to remind you to be intentional about everything that you do, because like the actions that we're doing now are what's going to determine whether we're going to be remembered or not, and also what's going to determine how future generations that are coming after us are going to live. So just want to remind everyone to just live with intentionality, make every action count, and just express yourself in the fullness of your glory, exhaust your capacity in a sense.
All right, so as you know, the show is called The Success Equation. So we're going to end off today by asking you, what is your success equation?
That's a very interesting one. I think for me, my success equation is add as much value as you can to as many people as you can. So I think the moment you add value to other people's lives, they'll also add value to you. Because what I've noticed, life is also sort of like a game of, we're like bank accounts. Every single person is like a bank account, right? When I meet you and I deposit in your life, if you are a sane human being, sooner or later you're going to reciprocate, because I've noticed human beings don't like being in the minus or in a debt position, right? If it's a good, kind human being and you add value in their lives, people will always like reward you. They'll always be like, you know what, you've added so much to my life. How can I thank you? And boom, they'll give you your thank you. You know, yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's it for today. Thank you very much, Keith, for all the value that you provided us.
Thank you so much, Mikael. Really appreciated this moment. Really enjoyed it. And dude, you're the best. Thank you so much for the good interview. Awesome.